Hello and welcome. I have decided to work on a little project for myself and I thought I would record it because maybe somebody else might be interested in this. So I'm going to take, what I'm doing is I'm taking this little vintage book that I kind of have destroyed, not really, but I'm going to turn it into my own little art journal. And this all came about by chance. I saw an idea on Instagram to take actually it was tea bags, but I used coffee because I don't drink tea, and just put it in a book. So I grabbed this little book and I plopped my coffee filter inside of this, and you can see that the coffee color seep through. This is one page, I think that I plopped it on, and it was really wet and messy. I did it for about 3 days, I think, and then here's one that's really brown, if you can see. And what happened was it really destroyed my little book. I mean, it fell apart, sort of, but I didn't really mind it because if I'm going to use this as an art journal, I had to take out a bunch of pages anyway. So I don't know exactly what I'm doing, but I have an idea, so we're going to go through this together. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just leaving this all out for a second. I wanted to show you, I took some of the pages and I did some mark making on them. I'm going to use these for something else, collaging or whatever. So I just wanted to show you like how many pages I had already taken out, and then I took out some other pages randomly, and I took out some of the pages that have illustrations because I thought they were really pretty, and I love that coffee staining. Excuse me, any illustrations, I didn't have a lot, but I took those out too because I thought I might use them in my other projects, and I think that's it. And then this one, I don't know why I took that one out. It's the cover page, I think. Anyway, that one I put tea bags on. So anyway, I took that, and I just did this randomly, and I looked at my pages that I had left, and I thought, okay, that looks like about the right size for a journal. I might take out more, actually, now that I'm looking at it, because it might get a little too thick. So we're not going to worry about the pages right now because I don't really know what I'm going to do with the pages exactly. I have like a vague idea in my head that I'm going to sew them into the spine somehow. But for today, I'm going to start and I'm going to just work on the cover because I do know what I want to do with that. So this is really brittle and messy, and it still has coffee stains on it. So I'm going to take my scissors. I really should use smaller scissors, but they're across the room, of course. And I'm going to cut this out because it's separated from the spine. And then I am going to fill the gap in there with some cardstock. So I've already pulled that out. And let me just wipe that off into the garbage can, and that little bit down to the floor. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of this cardstock that I just had. It's a scrap, as you can see, and I think I'm going to cut a piece out and put it in there. Now that I'm looking at this, I don't know. I was thinking about doing this, but now I'm thinking maybe I should use cardboard. Let's look at it. Okay, I'm going to cut out a piece to, kind of, fill this in, reinforce it. It really should be flush with the book, so that's what I'm thinking. I might use a thicker piece of cardboard, but let's see. This isn't a little art journal for myself. It doesn't have to be perfect. Once I attach that piece in there, I'm going to cover it with fabric. So let's see how I pulled out 2 pieces of fabrics. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use. Look through my green fabrics because the cover's green. So let's just see if I put this in here, and okay, yeah, I think I am gonna do that. This doesn't have to be perfect. If I was making this for someone else and I was gonna put it in my Etsy shop, something like that, I would be a lot more careful. So I'm just gonna like really wing all of this, and eyeball it kind of like this and cut it. I do want it cut it kind of straight, so I'm gonna make some marks approximately. Hopefully my head doesn't get in the way there. And then I'm gonna go to the cutting out of my cutting board and cut this out. Make some marks like that, fold them, and I'll be right back. Okay, I cut my piece, and I cut it a little bit long because you can always cut it shorter, but once you cut it short, if you cut it too short, you can't make it longer. I guess I could have added pieces in there, but I don't want to do that. So I'm going to take my glue, which is of course on the other side of the room too. I'm sorry. Let me grab that very quickly. Ugh, I hate when people do that on YouTube, and here I go. All right, so I'm just going to take my Fabri-Tac glue, and I'm going to just glue that in there. Let me do that. Let me glue this part. And I'm going to use quite a good bit of glue. I don't want this coming apart, and even though later I'll sew in the signatures, so that'll also keep it in place. But still, I want it to be somewhat secure. Oh, my problem with the glue, the Fabri-Tac glue. I need stronger hand muscles. All right, so that's a pretty good amount. Pay attention to the tops, the bottoms, and the sides. All right, so now I will put that in here, centered somewhat, and I'll just smush it in there. You know, I haven't really done, I've only done one junk journal like this, and I was a lot more careful, and I did use cardboard that matched the covers with our, is that the right thing? But like I said, this is just for me, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. Okay. So you can let this dry, or you can just keep going like me. I'm gonna move some stuff around because I know I have a big glare. Let me cover up my glue over here from my light, so I don't want to move stuff and then have the big glare. Hopefully that'll work better. Okay, so what I would do next, I have done this before with other journals that I've put together, is I have this tape, by the way. I haven't showed it yet. It's that packing tape that has string in it, and then you wet it and you can stick it down. If you have this, you could use it here. I'm going to put some tape down to reinforce. I would cut that, of course, to reinforce this, and then I'm going to cover it with my fabric. But I don't think, oh, and this tape also, I forgot to say, it's upside down. I stamped it with some word and number stamps that I have because I thought it was a cool idea. Anyway, I might use that in my pages. That's why it's out here. So hopefully this isn't confusing. So I have this wide masking tape, and I thought, well, everybody has masking tape, right? So I'll use that. Plus I like masking tape because, I don't know, it's just, I don't know, it's good tape. And it's like sturdy, but it's flexible. Does that make any sense? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put two pieces down, and again, just eyeballing this whole thing and cut it. I mean, I probably won't cut it straight because, you know, that's what I do, just cut things crooked, but I'm going to try to cut it straightish. Oh, yeah, that wasn't straight at all. And you know what, again, it doesn't really matter if it's just for me. And I'm not putting extra glue down, which I would also do if I was making this for somebody else. Very unstraight. All right, one piece there, and then let me start straight again. Cut the top off, and let's see if I can do it straighter this time. And then overlap a little bit with that side. And come on. Let's see. Probably not, but what the heck. Okay. Oh, that was pretty bad too. That's pretty bad. All right, I'm going to cut some of this because I don't want it hanging down too low. There. This is all going to be covered up, so it doesn't really matter. Okay. Wow, I'm really like making it way worse. Okay. So, oh gosh. Fantastic. All right. Push that into the, what do you call it? The, this part, I don't know what you call it. It is hanging down a tiny little bit more than I would like, but I mean, this book is falling apart. All right, so into the, you know, where it bends like that. So, and I've seen other people do this. I'll do it to show you. You can use your bone folder to kind of put that in there. And the next thing I would do, if I didn't like these inside pages, which I really like the way they look all distressed. I think I have a shadow there, sorry. I have a lot of shadows. It's late in the day and I just decided to start this because I just did. So anyway, if I didn't like these pages, I would then take some cardstock, pretty cardstock, and make two pieces the size of this inside cover and this, and I would glue it down, and then I would put my fabric on top of that. That's the way I would do like a different journal. For this one, I like this distressed look, some of the coffee staining. It's a cute, it used to be a little library book from Columbus. It looks like New Mexico, I don't know. And it says books kept out more than 2 weeks are subject to a fine of 5 cents per week, which I think is awfully cute. So again, this is like a grungy little, not fancy book. So that's what I'm going to do. So now I'm going to decide. I cut these strips badly also, and I'm going to decide which one I'm going to use. And it's not a huge issue. This one I just did a really poor job. Excuse me. So, I think I kind of like this one. I don't know. I thought I liked this one at first. It's kind of fancier fabric, which matches the cover. But now I'm not so sure. I'm going to go with the check. Okay. Of course, the ugly piece that I cut. So, I hadn't even thought about what am I going to use to glue this in with. Normally I use matte medium, but I really would have liked this fabric to be a little bit thicker because the matte medium sometimes can seep through. So I think I'm going to use it anyway, and I'm going to try very hard not to put a super thick layer on there. And hopefully it won't seep and look ugly. So I'm using some golden matte medium. You can use anything like that. You can use Mod Podge. You could even use the Fabri-Tac glue. I think some people use that. I don't really like to use that for covers or even inside covers, but that's just me. I like something you can spread out a little bit better. So anyway, I'm putting down a layer of matte medium, and I don't know if this is even the right size. I may have to add more. I want it to be kind of thin, but enough to hold the fabric, and I want to spread it out because if you get any big globs or streaks, that's where it can really stick. And I can't see, so I don't block the camera with my head. I'm going to eyeball that. And you know, again, if it's not super straight, that's okay. That's okay. I usually don't do these things super straight, to be honest. So take my little bone folder again, press it in like that. Press this one in. Oops, I can't even find this one. Sorry if I'm creating another shadow. Okay, so that's not really sticking very well, unfortunately. Maybe not enough matte medium. I'd have to put in a little bit more. Okay, so I'm going to do that. You don't need to watch me put more matte medium on here, I don't think. I'm going to put another little light layer in there and make sure this is sticking. And then I'm going to stop now anyway, because this is what it'll kind of look like. And then the next part is figuring out what I'm going to do with the pages. And I haven't figured that part out yet. So this hopefully doesn't look too hideous to anybody. I think it'll be cute in the end. I'll be back. Okay, it's the next morning and I'm back and I have ideas. So I added some more matte medium to the underneath this fabric to make sure it sticks. It's coming undone a little bit on these corners, so I may add more glue at some point. I'm not really going to worry about it too much right now. But this part is glued down fine. I let it sit overnight like this to dry really well. And then this morning I sat down and I was trying to figure out what I'm going to do next, because I'm literally winging this as we go along. Okay, so I was making some other journals, some other junk journals yesterday, and I had these scraps of fabric just laying there by the side of my desk, and this is the one I was thinking about using for the spine before. And I suddenly thought, oh my gosh, those fabrics would be great in my journal. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll explain it and then I'll work the first signature, and hopefully that'll work out. So what I plan to do is, let me move the stuff out of the way, is so I took the pages that I had. I think I grabbed a couple more because I thought I was going to take some out, but it turns out I'm adding some in. And I made little signatures, 3 little signatures, and I grabbed some other papers that I'm going to fit in here, because each of these has 8 papers. But if you do, it's 8 if you count this part. I don't know if that makes sense, but 16 pages altogether, and double that if you count front and back. Hopefully that makes sense. Usually I put 10 papers folded in half, or 10 or 12 in my journals that I make. That's the general rule of thumb. So because this is the pages are pretty thick, I thought, well, maybe 8's enough, but then I decided I'll just pull some random papers very quickly and I'll fit them in, and I'm going to work through that, probably fast forward a little bit when I go through that, because you don't have to watch every single thing, and I'm going to be repeating it for all 3 signatures. But anyway, let's go back to this. So I put my pages together into 3 signatures. Then I'm going to add in some extra papers. I decided to make a little bit of interest in between here and there. I didn't worry about the order of any of the pages, and I had started working on this page, these 2 pages, just on a whim. So this has to be at the center of one of my signatures. So what I'm going to do before I do any fabric is I'm going to take my papers one at a time, and I'm going to, whoops, I took 2 here. I'm going to put these together. Oh my gosh. Oh, I just realized this is 2, oh my gosh, look at that. I did not even notice this was, oh, that's such a cool image. I'm going to save that. So I'm going to have to find yet another piece of paper. Let me see if I have one here. I think I put them all away. I'll have to get another one. But anyway, I will, see, this is one of the first pages, but I'm going to put it at the end of the signature. So this is too thin, very, very thin. I'm not going to use that. Okay, so I'm going to put these 2 pages together. I'm going to use my same masking tape. I don't want this to get all extremely bulky, which is why I'm not going to do more than probably 9 or 10 pieces of paper folded in half for each signature. And hopefully the masking tape won't be too bulky. I may change my mind as I go along. If it turns out to, I think it's too bulky, I will do something different. What that is, I don't know, but we're just going to try it out. So what I'll do is I'm going to cut out a piece approximately the right size and lay it down. And you know, I thought about whether or not I should trim off this stuff because that adds extra bulk too. That's very thick right there on the edges. I may do that too now that I am looking at it again. I wasn't planning on it, but I'm not sure why I would want to keep that. So let's just do that. Instead of going to my cutting board, I'll just trim it quickly here. And again, I don't mind if the book has pages that are different sizes. You know, it's just a rough and grungy little book. And I think that adds interest to it. So it doesn't matter if that's straight or not to me. So, so I'm going to put these together. Okay, so first I'll put my tape down. Whoops. Let me throw that garbage away. Ugh. Well, everything takes longer when you're trying to do things quickly. Okay, so this is going to be the center of my 2 pages. And then I'm just going to eyeball that. Try to get it straight. It's not straight at all, of course. And we have a tiny, 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 tiny little gap. Tiny. Excuse me. I'm just going to fold this over. This one I'm going to cut it because it's just a little sliver. And I'm going to do the same thing. So that's what it looks like on this side. Now this one, because it's going to be the first one of my signature, is going to be covered by that fabric. So even, I don't really care if it's crooked anyway. So, but even if I did care, it's going to be covered up like this. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing on the inside. So take my tape. I hope that's not too loud. And set it down. This time I'm going to try to be a little more careful, but if I have any extra, I could just fold it over. Again, it doesn't really matter to me. This is just for me. I keep saying that. Okay, let's press that down. So that's the idea. That's going to be, excuse me, 1 page. And I don't know if this will do anything, but I'll press it down with my bone folder. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I have sinus issues, and in the mornings I usually have sinus issues, drippy, coughing, and stuff like that every morning. Okay, so that's going to be my first page. I'm going to do the same thing to each page. I will, I was going to fast forward, but I think I'll just stop and come back because it's very repetitive. I'm going to do the exact same thing for every page. Okay, I wanted to pop back on to show you where I'm at and also show you a mistake I made. After all these journals I've made all this time, I should have remembered this, but I didn't. As I put all my pages together with the tape, some of my pages were not already torn apart, like this one and this one. So I just put tape on one side to hold it together and just go with it like that for now. One of the reasons I did that is because this is not my mistake yet. I haven't explained that. Is this has some of the original thread or string that was used to bind it, and I think that looks really cool, so I wanted to keep that there. And these are in pretty good shape, and I again don't want to add more bulk by adding more tape on this side. And then I had to swap out the middle page with this one, and I'll explain now my mistake. So as I put these together, I realized that the insides, because of the bulk, the inside pages are they stick out more. So when you put your book together, the pages stick out like that. Now, if that doesn't bother you, then don't worry about it. But I don't really want the pages sticking out for me, even though I'm usually pretty like haphazard about stuff like that and don't worry about things being crooked. That kind of bothers me. So I'm going to trim that up, but I won't do it right now. I'm going to trim it up on my, I might tear some of the pages out to make it look interesting. So let's try that now. And of course, like, I'm not going to measure anything, so I just take my ruler. Well, I can't do it that way. Hold on. Take my ruler and put it down like this, approximately, whoops, and then just tear it. So let's see, I tore out a pretty good amount. Let's see how that looks. Whoops. Okay, so see, then I tore way too much out, but that's okay because yeah, I kind of like the, you know, the different sizes. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to add this page in. Whoops. I'm going to tear that down. Let's fold it in half and see. I think I fold it in half. It almost fits, so about like that. Like that. Make it a little bit shorter. I better make it shorter so it doesn't stick out. Okay. I'm doing this really fast just to show you real quickly. So let's cut it right about there. Where was that? Oh, I can't remember. I'll cut it right there or tear it. Let's see. I think that's too long. Yep. So let's go here. All right. Sorry, I'm being so crazy. And cut a little bit off of there. Okay. Being super careful, as you can see. All right, so let's count the pages. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this will be 8. And I think I'm going to put that in right here. So I could add a couple more if I wanted to make 10, but I don't know. Later on, I'll figure it out. I'm going to do the same thing for my other signatures so that it's all ready. Then I'm going to put the fabric on and then bind them into my book. So I'll come back when I'm finished with that. Let me think if I need to do anything else. So yeah, that's it. And for now, I'm just going to continue putting the tape on my papers on one or both sides. I'm gonna tear some random papers that I brought and put them in my signatures. Make sure everything, you know, kind of fits so in there. And then I will be back. All right, I am back. And before I show you my signatures, I have to tell you that a funny thing happened while I was tearing my pages. You know that saying about how, about happy accidents? Well, that's what happened with my pages. So I was tearing the pages and, you know, not really measuring, doing eyeballing it and all that. And I discovered that I really like the torn edge look, and I liked that they were different sizes, and I think it makes it more interesting. I swapped some of the pages around so that each signature had about 9 and one has 10 papers in it, folded in half. So anyway, that's how it looks. And I also discovered that now I don't really mind my pagers sticking out a little bit because it just has that kind of raggedy, torn edge, and I think that looks good. So they're all ready. I'm going to show you quickly again that I have 1, 2, I put some old ledger paper, 3, 4, 5, 6, map 7, 8, and 9. I had already worked on this, so I wanted it to be in the center. So I swapped it out with my other one that I wanted to be in the center for a reason that I don't remember. Oh, that was this one, but I decided it just isn't working in the center, so it doesn't have to go together. That looks fine. So I have 1, 2, 3, and I'll fix this up before I sew it in. Let's see, I already lost count. Let's go back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And with this one, I have the string in the middle, which I think looks good. Looks raggedy. Hopefully I'll be able to keep that in there. I like it. And then my final signature, 1, I added this little card that I had, 2, 3, more ledger paper, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And this one has the string. This was all together. Not all of the pages fell apart, so I just kept them together and taped just the outside of this little bundle. And if I need more later on, as more support as I'm working, like right in here, I can add more tape in there, but I'm not going to do that right now. And then this paper is super thin. I decided to add it in there for some extra something or other. And it's very thin, so I don't mind having 10. This is probably going to be tricky to sew in, I won't lie, because of the bulk in there, but I'm going to try it. I can do it. I have confidence in myself. Okay, so the next thing I did was, I don't need this rest of this, I just need this outside page. I tore down my little fabrics into the right size, or the size I think that's right. And I'm going to apply them onto the first page of each signature. And I think what I'm going to use, because I don't want to use wet stuff that'll seep through into the fabric, which isn't very thick fabric, I'm going to use my trusty glue stick. And I think it will be fine. I have sewn fabric down with glue before, glue stick, and if it's a thin-ish fabric, it works fine. And just stick that on there. I don't mind if it's not completely centered. And the main thing with this one is I wanted the title to show a little bit. I don't know if that'll be covered up someday. It's okay. So there's the first one. And that looks good. I like strings hanging down. Let's see. I always need to use a little bit more glue on those edges. Okay, so that's my first signature. How cute that looks, I think. And the second one, I'm just going to grab the first page of the second signature. And for this one, I wanted to use this one. And I'm going to put this over a little bit so it doesn't completely cover that thread. This one's a little bit long, that's okay. I'll center it. Alright, glue. And glue, whoops. Trying to hold on to that for some reason. And lots of glue, or a good amount. And the other thing I like about glue is if you go over where you want to put it down, if you go too far over, it just dries clear. It's fine. So that's about it. Well, I put it down, so there's where it's going to go. And just kind of flatten it out. And it's okay with me if it has little wrinkles, but in general, it's pretty good. I like it. Alright, so this one is like that. I think I should have torn that one a little bit smaller because of this I wanted to see the sewing on there, but that's okay. Yeah, it's all right. It covers the tape, so it's fine. I'll worry about that another day. And so that's my second signature. And whoops, just the first page of the third signature. I'm going to use this fabric, which I have looked at this fabric I don't know how many times. I'm not sure, but I think this is the right side up. It's beyond me. I'm not going to worry about it anymore. I'm going to pick the side that I think looks good and go for it. We'll hardly be able to see this. Okay, so center that one, center-ish, and glue it down. I should have torn this one a little bit more, I think. I'm going to leave it unglued a little bit. I might tear that down or cut it down because I probably can't tear it anymore. Well, maybe I can. I don't know. Sometimes I like to live dangerously and try to tear it when it's half stuck on the paper. I've never tried that before. But I'll leave it like that for now. I can always go in and cut it down a little bit. Okay, so here's my, whoops, uh-oh. Uh-oh, okay. Yeah, thought I lost my order there. Okay, so that's my third signature. So here's what my book looks like again. All my signatures will go in like this. I think it looks super, super cute. I'm really happy so far. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sew these things into the cover. Okay, I'm back and I finished my little book. Super happy with it. I have this paper here to hopefully cut down on the glare. That's the only reason it's there. I made a little cute ribbon closure. Super easy. I'll show you how I did it. I mean, like pretty much 5 minutes I did it. All right, so let's look at my book first of all. It has the 3 signatures sewn in. It's not exactly centered, but I'm okay with that because it's just for me. It's fine. I think it looks really cute. And here's the inside. The first signature. It's a little bit stiff, so let's do that. Okay, first signature. And I won't flip through the whole thing. The second signature is there. And then the third one is there. I need to glue. Oh, that's the one that's right. I was going to tear, but I don't know. I'll worry about it later. So, pretty happy with the way it turned out. Here's the back. And yeah, so it's my personal little journal. Sorry about that. I love the way it looks. I love the grunginess. I love threads hanging out, pages torn and different sizes. I like the black thread showing. I'm going to leave it just like that. And then I have a bunch of this ribbon. It's a bunch of threads I have to pull off. I mean, not ribbon, fabric. And I tore 2 pieces of fabric and then I just sewed them together with a straight stitch. And I'll use that to tie it just to look cute, but doesn't really need anything right now. And that's about it. So I hope you got something out of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be sure to share any other ideas or projects that I think might be of interest to others. So thanks for watching and see you next time.